Welcome, dear friends, gathered in the City Hall of Copenhagen. My name is Marian Turski. In Auschwitz I had no name, only a number. B2408, 9408. B9408. Tattooed on. I was in the camp in Auschwitz almost till the last days. January the 18th, 45, they ordered an evacuation. It was my first death march, direction Buchenwaldzie. Here, as well, I was almost till the last day, because 3 days before liberation of Buchenwaldzie, I was sent in another march from Buchenwaldzie to Theresienstadt, where finally I was liberated. I know, I feel that they expect me to answer hunger. They are right. Hunger, starvation, is something which normal people, well-fed, even if they are undernourished, they could comprehend what does it mean. Maybe people who survived the famine in the Ukraine in the 30s, those who were in Leningrad when it was besieged in the 40s, maybe post-war times, the famous famine in Nigeria, well, they could understand it. But normal people, it is so hard to comprehend it. What does it mean when hunger makes your moves slow, you are passive, you are indifferent. What an impact is of the hunger to your psyche, to your mentality, to your action, to your approach to life. Imagine that you are always haunted with a scepter of a potato, of a spoonful of soup, of a bite of bread. It is always before your eyes, always. But still, it was not the worst. So you might ask, what is the living conditions? Imagine you are settled in barracks, 1,000 and more than 1,000 people in one barracks, freezing. You are jammed on the straw in a bank. I will tell you, like herrings, from this point of view, from one point of view, it might be even there was even an advantage. It was not cold when you were so squashed. However, imagine one when he comes to this bank and he wanders, he hesitates, going up to the top bunk or to the bottom bunk. Why to the top bunk? Because, you know, I'm sorry to say it, the prisoners' bladders don't hold out and they leak. Therefore, better to be up. But on the other hand, when suddenly, and it happens very often, the German supervisor or the so-called Blockalteste or the capo declares a sudden roll call, and you have to climb down immediately. If not, you could be battered, you could be beaten. So what is better? So the living condition, no, it was not the worst. There may be cold, especially the turn of the years 1944 and 45 was especially strong, very severe, -20. Unbearable cold, believe me. And what happened to me? I covertly cut out from a cement sack an undershirt to put it under my prisoner's dress, prisoner's uniform. And once the German supervisor noticed it, du hast deutsches Vermögen gestohlen. You stole German property. And he gave me such a savage beating. So living so cold, still not the worst. So maybe you should ask, lies. Horrible, horrible. I am to admit, in the so-called in German Stammlager, well, in Auschwitz, in Buchenwalde, there were no lies. I don't remember lies, no. However, we were sent very often, the so-called Arbeitskommandos or subcommandos. From Auschwitz, I was, for instance, in Czechowice-Dziedzice, a bombed oil refinery, total bombed. And also the sanitary facilities were bombed. As well, it happened to me when I was on the commander from Buchenwalde in Reimsdorf, close to Zeitz, where this was also a plant so-called Brabak and Aktionsgesellschaft. Well, brown coal production, from brown coal produced oil. It was also bombed totally, dismantled, everything dismantled. No possibility to wash. So there were lies, particularly, especially, lies where our greatest enemy, who was the greatest enemy? During our march from Buchenwalde to Theresienstadt, thousands, 100,000s of lies. By the way, they also infected me, and I got the typhus in this time, which was obvious just 1 week after the war, after liberation. So this was the worst. Still not. So what, you will ask? The worst among all the calamities was humiliation. The fact that if you were a Jew. And precisely because you were a Jew, you were treated less worse than an animal, not like a human being, not at all, like an insect, like a louse, like a chigger, like a bedbug, like a cockroach. And what usually decent people, normal people, what do? They suffocate it, they crush it, they step on it, they annihilate it. Well, yes. Dear friends, when you today look around, when you sometimes watch phenomena, political, sociological phenomena, electoral decisions, and you don't understand them, sometimes try to explain it that they were done by people who got the feeling of being humiliated. Could be in America, could be in Europe, could be in Africa, in the Middle East. And therefore, if sometimes I'm asked, I'm very often asked, you who survived those atrocities, who went through all those calamities, what would you suggest? What would you tell, declare? What a message would you hand over, deliver to other people? If it would be one word, probably I would have chosen the word empathy. And therefore, permit me to conclude my words with quoting a poem of my very good late friend, an outstanding Polish poet. I'm sorry, up to my mind, underestimated, Bolesław Taborski. He wrote a short poem titled Compassion. The most important thing is compassion for everything on earth. People, animals, the plants too, the rocks, seas, and again I say, people. It makes life bearable, and its absence dehumanizes. Take the perpetrators of the Holocaust, the devil's servants on this earth. They pretended to be humans, nay, superhumans. They were nothing. They knew not what compassion is. My dear friends, today, the day of Auschwitz liberation, we commemorated, and if I may comment it, probably there would be very often use the phrase, never again Auschwitz, never more, if it shouldn't be mere a slogan, an empty phrase. We must learn, we should learn to understand different people, other people, different from me, from you, from us. We must do our best to understand their motives if we want to live in a world where should be less hate. Thank you.